right, welcome back to Biashara Tuesday. We're just having here a small conversation on the sidelines with our guest of the day. I'm just going to allow her to introduce herself straight up. She's a chemical engineer, amazing woman in engineering, and also visionary founder, as I said earlier on, of the Black Women in Engineering. She's taking part as the event happening within Kenyatta University grounds, the Engineering Outreach Program. So, Women in Engineering, please tune into the show. We are having here one of your own to give us insights, the challenges, and see how we can navigate in solving some of those things affecting our economy and livelihood. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you here. Please have fun on this camera. Let us know who you are and also, the kind of stuff that you're involved in before we get into the conversation.
Yes, of course. So my name is Abisola Ajani. I am a process technology engineer at the moment. I studied chemical engineering at university. I had graduated a few years ago, and since graduating, I've worked in oil and gas, chemical manufacturing, and now I'm currently working in the food manufacturing industry.
Right. Are you the right person to ask why the price of fuel is going up?
No, I'm not the right person. I think it's a question all across the board. It's a universal issue.
Right, definitely. But let's get into things that are a bit more focused with what you do. You are the founder of Black Women in Engineering. Let's begin with that. Why do we need to have Black Women in Engineering, and what was the mission towards setting up this?
That's a very good question. So since graduating, as I mentioned earlier, and I started to work, I live in the UK. And in the UK, we have not a lot of female engineers, but even less Black female engineers. And so navigating the work environment was a bit challenging. So initially, I was involved in another organization that was looking to increase ethnic minority people within the engineering workforce. But even with that, there wasn't a lot of female role models. And I think that has a lot of effect on the amount of females that you have working in the industry, the retention rate for the females working in industry. And I believe that, what you can see, you can be. So that's why I wanted to start BWENG, and it's been going well since.
Right. Engineering, male-dominated. Even if we had to take a look at the statistics within Kenyatta University itself, I happen to have been an engineering student within this campus. And, it was a class of 42 students, 40 of us were male, only 2 of them were female. And I think one did drop along the way before we finished. Why do you think we have this kind of situation still? And this is 2023.
Yes, I think there are a number of different reasons. One of them being socially, when people think about engineering, typically you think about a man. You think about, heavy lifting and very hardiest jobs and things that are very physically tasking. But that's not the case. So you have this propaganda, or you have this story about what engineering is, and it's not very female friendly. So I think that's one. I think the other one is the fact that they think, if you want to be an engineer, you have to be extremely smart. You have to know, all the sciences and all the maths, which is true to some extent, but I think as an engineer, the biggest skill you need to have is problem-solving skills. And problem-solving skills is not just a man's skills; it's a people skills. And so women don't necessarily feel, or some women don't necessarily feel, that engineering is for them until they see other women doing engineering, and they say, "Oh, I can do that," and then they go on to do it.
Right. How does now Black Women in Engineering help in promoting this visibility and encouraging more women too?
That's a very good question. We do a number of different things. One of the things we do is what we're doing here at Kenyatta University is the Engineering Outreach Program. And what we try to do with the Engineering Outreach Program is to help the participants understand what world and life as engineers can look like. We also open up the opportunities for them to speak to professional engineers and ask the questions that sometimes they might have not otherwise had the opportunity to ask. And so I believe participants from the EOP would then graduate university with a clearer idea of what working in engineering is like, and they would hopefully stay longer in the profession. But for professionals, what we try to do is encourage networking, because I believe that your network is your net worth. So we do a number of different networking events for professionals to network amongst themselves and network amongst, maybe newer engineers, younger engineers get the opportunity to network with more seasoned engineers, and so you can basically see what your profession or what your career could look like by seeing people that's been there, that's done it, and just speaking to them and hopefully helping them engage a bit more in the profession.
Right. Have you seen an uptick in the visibility of Black women in engineering?
Absolutely. We've had really good feedbacks from our networking events. We've had good feedbacks from the actual engineering outreach program, and so far it's been very engaging.
Right. On this show, sadly, it's not a female host having this conversation while we're talking about Black women in engineering or women in engineering. But now, what role can I play as a male engineer and other male engineers to ensure that there's also increased uptake of women who are taking part in this?
I really love that question. I think as a male engineer, you can be an ally, you can be an advocate.
Okay.
So you know, when you talk about engineering, you can make it a bit more inclusive. If someone says, "Oh, engineering is such a very difficult job," no, it's not a very difficult job. As an engineer, you can work in design, you can work in manufacturing, you can work in different areas. And I think opening that door as well for female engineers, you can be a mentor to female engineers. If they have questions or they need some kind of guidance, you can provide that for them as well. So yes.
Right. Let's speak industry and academia. In Kenya, when we are trying to balance out the this kind of disparity, whether it's enrollment into university, there's kind of different points that are required to attain for the males and female, and other few programs here and there to ensure we are getting more females enrolled or more women enrolled in this kind of STEM programs. What critical steps do you think then the industry and academia and stakeholders can also do to especially encourage women into STEM?
I think we can make engineering more visible. So by visible, I mean if we have fairs, we have demonstrations of engineering applications, and take it to schools, take it to primary schools, take it to secondary schools, because when you expose people to engineering from a young age, it could grab their interest, and then they might want to go in to pursue it. Because what you find that some of the time is people do engineering maybe because they very hands-on and they like to fix things or break things and fix things, or maybe they know somebody that was an engineer and they said, "Oh, I would like to be that." So by increasing the visibilities of engineering applications to more people, then you'd have more uptake in engineering.
Right. The engineering outreach program, which you already hinted earlier on, is bringing together women engineering and students from various engineering disciplines, as I can see here. Maybe let's start with highlighting some benefits of this kind of interdisciplinary approach. Seeing mechanical engineers, chemical engineers, hoping a telecommunication engineers myself also can get a space in this kind of conversation. What are some of the benefits of this interdisciplinary approach?
Very good question. So one of the benefits is, as I said earlier, it gives the students a real-life practical experience of what working in engineering could be like. Working as an engineer, you don't tend to work alone. You tend to work in teams. So as a big part of the program is the engineering project, where they get to fix one of the UN SDG goals and provide innovative solutions based on the local need.
Right.
So they'll be working in interdisciplinary team, and as you mentioned, we have electrical engineers, we have biomedical engineering students on the program, and they will all work within their team, and so they bring their expertise of their education to the solution that they're trying to provide, and so they will design that solution and then present it.
Right.
Another benefit is they get access to professionals, so they will on day 2, like today, they will get a panel discussion with a number of engineers that are currently working doing different things in the industry. And for this, the students can see that, okay, with an engineering degree, I can go into engineering, but I can also go into consulting. I can also go into maybe tech. I can also go into data. I could do so many different things, because with an engineering degree, you get such a good grounding on the skills that you can then develop in doing so many different things afterwards.
Right. Way earlier from maybe high school when it comes to the Republic, and I know you've already touched on what the industry and academia can do. We see that some of the subjects required for someone to undertake an engineering course, like physics, chemistry, are optional. if I'm speaking the context of Kenya. So you can drop it at some point later. Let's say I didn't do physics, or I didn't pursue physics for a long time in high school, maybe did it in the first, second year. Am I still someone who can partake or who can pursue engineering? Maybe I develop my passion later. Is it possible to kind of skip that step?
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, you can say you want to be an engineer or a pilot when you're young, and then your interest changes a bit later. I think for me, it's more about the experience. So even if you didn't do physics, but you have some work experience in engineering companies, or you've done something that's very engineering related, you can use this passion to then go into studying engineering a bit later on. Absolutely.
All right. SDG number 2 for this EOP program that is happening, 4-day program at Kenyatta University. United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 2, zero hunger. Why did you choose specifically this?
We chose this because it's a global issue. It affects everybody. It's one of the main issues, and that's why it was identified as one of the SDGs. And I think the solution that is provided by the people that are feeling the problem tends to fix the issue much better than someone that comes from anywhere else and say, this is the solution, implement it. And I think this is also this goal is also something that a lot of us can relate to, in the sense where, if you go out and say you want to go to the supermarket to buy food, it's probably cheaper to get processed food, which might not necessarily be good for you, and more expensive to buy organic food unless you go to the market where, it might be a bit cheaper. And so we're trying to make the students come up with innovative ways to help, utilize the existing food products that we have, and maybe look at ways to make it a bit more enticing to people, or go a bit further down in the value chain to improve overproduction or waste of agricultural produce.
All right. And I think last year we also, 2 years ago, we saw the Health Prize Challenge, which is a competition organized for university students across the world to come up with solutions towards reducing hunger, across the world. And we see engineers participate and other people from, social sciences as well. But when it comes to real life issues, there's a general sense of feeling, and you can correct me if I'm wrong at home, there's a general sense of feel that, people in engineering are hardcore, and, they're in the lab, they're behind the computers or with machines fixing things, and, people in social sciences are more in touch with real life problems. Is that the case, or is there a way that we can also kind of demystify that or bridge the gap?
Absolutely. So yes, you're not wrong. Engineers are probably out in the lab or at some different phases of the value chain. But I think with the solution, it's where teamwork comes into place. So you get the people to social science, define the issue, and then engineers can come up with possible solutions and help implement those solutions. But then you need people that are maybe in marketing to help advertise these solutions to people, so people can take up this the solution that's been provided. So it's all very interconnected.
All right. EOP is going to be a 4-day activity. Activities I'm seeing here from workshops to presentations. Could you maybe highlight a few key of those sessions and activities that people can look forward to?
Yes. So today we have a panel discussion with a number of professional engineers. So the students could look forward to engaging with them. We also have a keynote tomorrow from someone that works in the food industry, and they can also, going back to what you said, help the participants see how their engineering solutions is fixing real life problem based on what she currently does in the industry. And on the 4th day is where the students get to present their engineering product, innovative design, to a panel of judges, and the winning team probably will be getting a prize.
Right, prize or prizes.
Yeah.
This is actually, this interview, people who are at the workshop are watching this, so we are hoping that they're also following through with what they can look forward to in terms of the prize and also the sessions and activities. Networking is crucial, and I think that's what most of us do attend workshops to. And if you haven't been, networking is crucial, right? And in this field of engineering, what are some of the potential long-term benefits that will be happening after these 4 days?
One of the main thing is the access to the BWENG network. So the participants will have access to participants on this program, but we've also done the program in Nigeria last year, and we did it for students in Malawi back in 2021.
So this has been happening before today.
Yes, we started doing this in 2021.
All right.
And so participants on the EOP has access to all these participants from previous programs and future programs. So they also can increase their network. So if when they graduate, they are looking for maybe furthering their studies into masters or going to work, they have a number of different people that they could just reach out to.
All right. So look forward to that. Is it open or is it a closed session at this point?
Well, for this point, we've already got all our participants, but for future ones, definitely will be open. So yeah, keep a lookout.
Right. We'll get to know where they can keep a lookout at. But in the next few minutes after we finish this conversation, I'm having an interview with a gentleman who is into advocacy. And maybe I wanted to ask something little there on advocacy and awareness building, right? What can be done to maybe challenge these stereotypes and biases that may exist within the engineering field that prevent women from excelling or even just joining? You could have a very strong passion, but maybe you take a look around at the people involved within the field that you're in, the kind of biases they have towards women, or the kind of stereotypes that they do have when it comes to women in engineering. What advocacy and awareness can we do to ensure that we are challenging these stereotypes?
I think one of the key things we can do is to, when we talk about engineering, not make it very male specific. Yesterday we had one of the speakers give an example of how, you know, when you're younger, you're buying a book for your child, you can see like Thomas the Tank Engine. It's very male. But then when you talk about Mary goes to the market, it's very like, okay, why is it Mary going to the market? So I think when we are open and, you know, we are consciously being aware of the stereotypes that we have within ourselves. When we talk about engineering to people, then we don't make it very gender specific, because it's not gender specific.
It's interesting to see how those very subtle actions can direct a narrative. Right?
Absolutely, and I think a lot of us don't. It's a learned behavior, because this is just how everything is at the moment. So when we become aware of it, then we start to do different things. I know an engineer, a female engineer actually, that's written a number of books about female engineers. One of the book I believe is My Mom's an Engineer. So you know, if we make these type of books a bit more public, then maybe in the next couple of years we can start seeing, you know, Mary goes to space or something like that.
Yeah, that would be amazing, because even the first time we tried an attempt to space, we know that a lot of women were involved in the computation.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
So we have a lot to harness from women in engineering. Black women in engineering, is this something that, is it something that people can join to continuously access opportunities? Let us know about it.
Yes, absolutely. So it's open, like I said, to engineers and engineering professionals and students. They can join us. It's at www.bweng.org. We're also on LinkedIn, and
Right. So that goes on the screen, Engineering Outreach Program 2023, and also Black Women in Engineering, something that you can check on your social channels. Looking into the future, how do you envision growth and expansion? You said you started in 2021?
Yeah.
Right. We are 2 years into it. How do you envision into the future the growth looking like?
I would say that we see a lot more intakes from organizations and corporations sponsoring programs like their engineering outreach program. We also have international conferences and seminars and summits to bring female engineers together, female engineers and allies like yourself together. We also see a lot more engineering outreach programs in so many other countries where we're also doing the same thing, trying to increase that visibility for female engineers.
Right. For those who want to support EOP, how can they be involved? In which ways can they contribute? Impact, financial? I don't know how you like that.
Every way possible, absolutely. Volunteering, financials, just opening their doors for us to be able to do what we do. There's loads of opportunities, and if they reach out to me, I'm sure that we can make those things happen.
All right. So please make sure that you look out for the next round. I think this one we have said is already closed for participation, but I see here from the workshop room within Kenyatta University, the participants are very happy to join this session and also continue with the discussions which will be happening in the next 4 days. Of course, Kenyatta University is that center of excellence when it comes to these kinds of conversation. Women in engineering and STEM in general is what they are trying to improve for the next 4 days. Now, just finally to get your remark as well, but to touch a bit again on mentorship. It plays a very pivotal role for all of us, but also for women in empowering them in early career or even as students. Could you share maybe a bit more, because you already have, on how mentorship is integrated within EOP and the benefits it brings to the participants as we wrap up?
Absolutely. So mentorship is one of the key things that we always drive. And as participants of the EOP, you have access specifically to people on the judging panel, on the discussion panel, and from there you get opportunity to meet people that could potentially be your mentors in the future. And you can then approach those individuals, ask them to be your mentor, or just follow in their career. And how the world is very open now. You can follow them on LinkedIn and just to kind of, see how they're doing. And just get yourself a mentor as a participant from the judging panel or from other members of the organization at large.
Right. Thank you very much. That is Abisola Ajani. Abisola Ajani. Am I doing it correct?
You're doing it perfectly fine.
Right. I know you probably have heard this joke a lot of times, and I'm sorry I couldn't avoid it. Could you say then engineering is Ajani?
Yes, engineering is definitely very Ajani.
Right, just like your name there. So remember, in the world of engineering, even our mistakes have a certain mechanical charm to them. So embrace the occasional engineering elegance in your life. And as a woman in engineering, you have many to look up to and also to be your mentors. So check out Black Women in Engineering and participate in the next round of EOP. Shout out to all those participants who are in the workshop and sessions happening there. We are hoping the discussions will be fruitful and towards advocacy in improving the visibility and the participation of women in STEM and engineering. Social media, or for yourself or the organization?
Yes, so you can find us on LinkedIn at Black Women in Engineering Network, BWENG, and we're also on Instagram at BWENG_.
Right. Anyone who wants to be mentored by you directly, can they reach out?
Yes, absolutely. You can follow me on LinkedIn at Abisola Ajani, and you can see my face.
Okay, that's it for us here for this discussion. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be coming back with Charles for advocacy, which I already teased there. We're taking a look at what more we can do, and maybe a bit of engineering as well. How does engineering play in our international policies and our internal policies? Keep it here on Biashara Tuesday. I will be right back.